Ezekiel chapter 44. And he causes me to turn back the way of the gate of the outer sanctuary that is looking eastward, and it is shut. And Yahweh says to me, This gate is shut, it is not opened, and none go in by it, for Yahweh, God of Israel, has come in by it, and it has been shut. The prince who is prince, he sits by it to eat bread before Yahweh. He comes in by the way of the porch gate, and by its way he goes out. And he brings me in the way of the north gate to the front of the house. And I look, and behold, the glory of Yahweh has filled the house of Yahweh. And I fall on my face. And Yahweh says to me, Son of man, set your heart, and see with your eyes, and hear with your ears, all that I am speaking with you, all of the statutes of the house of Yahweh, and all of its laws. And you have set your heart to the entrance of the house, with all the outlets of the sanctuary, and have said to the rebellion, to the house of Israel, Thus said Lord YHWH, Enough from you of all your abominations, O house of Israel. And you are bringing in sons of a stranger, uncircumcised of heart and uncircumcised of flesh, to be in my sanctuary, to defile it, even my house, and you are bringing near my bread, fat, and blood. And they break my covenant by all your abominations. And you have not kept the charge of my holy things, and you set others for keeping my charge and my sanctuary for you. Thus said Lord YHWH, No son of a stranger, uncircumcised of heart and uncircumcised of flesh, comes into my sanctuary, even any son of a stranger who is in the midst of the sons of Israel. And the Levites who have gone far off from me in the wandering of Israel, when they went astray from me after their idols, and they have borne their iniquity, and they have been servants in my sanctuary, overseers at the gates of the house, and servants of the house. They slay the burnt offering and the sacrifice for the people, and they stand before them to serve them. Because that they serve them before their idols, and have been for a stumbling block of iniquity to the house of Israel, therefore I have lifted up my hand against them, a declaration of Lord YHWH, and they have borne their iniquity. And they do not draw near to me to act as my priest, and to draw near to any of my holy things, to the Holy of Holies. And they have borne their shame and their abominations that they have done. And I make them keepers of the charge of the house, for all its service, and for all that is done in it. And the priests, the Levites, sons of Zadok, who have kept the charge of my sanctuary in the wandering of the sons of Israel from off me, they draw near to me to serve me, and have stood before me, to bring fat and blood near me. A declaration of Lord YHWH. They come into my sanctuary and draw near to my table to serve me, and they have kept my charge. And it has come to pass, in their going into the gates of the inner court, they put on linen garments, and no wool comes up on them in their ministering in the gates of the inner court and within. Linen headdresses are on their head, and linen trousers are on their loins. They are not restrained with sweat. And in their going forth to the outer court, to the people, they strip off their garments in which they are ministering, and have placed them in the holy chambers, and have put on other garments. And they do not sanctify the people in their own garments. And they do not shave their head, and they do not send forth the lock. They certainly trim their heads. And no priest drinks wine in their coming into the inner court. And they do not take a widow or a divorced woman to themselves for wives, but they take virgins of the seed of the house of Israel, and the widow who is widow of a priest. And they direct my people between holy and common, and they cause them to discern between clean and unclean. And concerning controversy, they stand up for judgment. They judge it with my judgments, and they keep my law and my statutes in all my appointed places, and they sanctify my Sabbaths. And he does not come near to any dead man to be defiled, but if for father and for mother and for son and for daughter, for brother, for sister who has not been to a man, they may defile themselves. And after his cleansing they number 7 days to him. And in the day of his coming into the sanctuary, into the inner court, to minister in the sanctuary, he brings his sin offering near. A declaration of Lord YHWH. And it has been for an inheritance to them. I am their inheritance, and you do not give a possession to them in Israel. I am their possession. The present and the sin offering and the guilt offering they eat, and every devoted thing in Israel is theirs, and the first of all the first fruits of all, and every raised offering of all your raised offerings, are the priests. And you give the first of your dough to the priest, to cause a blessing to rest on your house. The priests do not eat any carcass or torn thing, from the bird or from the beast.